We are back, episode 108 of the Nerds Social Club podcast. It's been a while. I think the end of October was the last time we did a podcast. In that time, we've both had COVID. We've had Thanksgiving for Aaron. We've had Christmas. And now it's the new year, and we're back. And we think, because why not? Let's get into it. Let's get taught. There's been plenty of nerdy things. There's plenty of nerdy things to catch up on that have happened in the last 3 or 4 months. 2 Marvel movies, 3 Marvel movies even, and a Star Wars show, a Marvel show, and plenty of other little bits and pieces. So, Aaron, how is it going, my friend?
It's good. It's good. I'm glad the podcast is back. I've been having withdrawal symptoms, although my brand new PS5 is certainly helping things.
Oh yeah, it's like smoothing over the issues.
Mm-hmm. Which I have to say is absolutely phenomenal gaming system. So I'm glad I finally had the ability after 4 hours in the bloody cold to get it. But
you've done
well worth it. And I believe. I was going to say, I believe Santa came and visited you as well with a nice
I've just PS5. I've literally just had to drag myself away from Miles Morales. I'm on the final mission of Miles Morales because it's not a very big game. And I've just done all most of the side missions, so I've got all the good suits and stuff. And it's just a really cool game, and as you say, the ability to the loading speeds and everything is just incredible on it. But I just love the feature on Miles Morales where you can if you use this little thing on it that makes the game look like Into the Spider-Verse, which is just a cool little.
Really?
It's a cool little. It's not like the whole thing doesn't do it. It's just when you swing, it gives you this like after effect, which makes it look like you're in the Spider-Verse, which is really really cool. So. I've got one last mission on that to finish, and then I can start Guardians of the Galaxy because I've got that to play as well. So going heavy.
I need to start that.
Yeah. Well, you just take your time. Just take your time on the games. Don't rush them. And I also find that you shouldn't really go back and forth between games either. I don't like that kind of experience. So. You put a game in.
You have to kind of immerse yourself in because the gameplay is different and the mechanics are different on it. Because that's what took me a little while with playing Spider-Man, the dodging techniques and using your Peter Tingle to dodge enemies and to get and even especially as well early on in the game you're trying to figure it all out and it's just there's a lot going on. It's very busy game, so it takes a little while to just get used to the world and
to just settle into the world. No, so I mean, you've got lots of games because you never had a PS4. You've got some of the great games to catch up on that. I know you're playing Spider-Man. Yep. You have to play The Last of Us, or
I've got it. Look, I've got it in my queue ready.
Well, you've got the ability to have a lot of free games, haven't you? You've got all these free games that are fantastic, some of the best games ever, and you've got them just sitting there waiting for you to play. But definitely play.
I think on PlayStation Plus I picked up The Last of Us for free, the latest God of War for free, Days Gone, which I know is one you highly recommended. I love it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Days Gone talk recently. Just think, so Days Gone is it never got panned, but I think it got put alongside The Last of Us. Yeah. When you play The Last of Us, trust me, you'll understand why it's such a. What you'll understand, it's movie quality. A great it would be made a great film, and hopefully it'll make a great series on HBO. And I think Days Gone is a zombie kind of game, but it's a different sort. Now, is it repetitive? Yes. Do you hear the same lines of dialogue now and again? Yes. Is it buggy? Yes. But it's really, really fun to play, and it's huge. It's proper huge. Like the story is massive. Like you think you finished the game up 4 times and you don't. It just keeps going. It's incredible value for money. Yeah. And a lot of it is just trying to kill zombies, but there is a narrative, and the narrative's quite good, and it finishes on a bit of a cliffhanger. So anyway, they decided not to make a number 2. Sony or somebody decided it didn't sell enough. Anyway, last week it came out that Sony were raving about Ghosts of Tsushima, saying it sold 8 million copies and blah blah blah. So the guy who made Days Gone came out and said, "Well, ours sold 8 million copies. Like, what's the big thing? Like, you basically we're a failure." And don't get me wrong, Days Gone, they did put some serious money into it. He said, "You're a failure." He said, you said we were a failure, and that's like the best game going. So anyway, he came out and said a few things, and then I think in the last couple of days, the director came out and said, "Oh, the plans we had for it were going to be huge because there is in the game." It's like it's apocalyptic, but there's like a structure of government trying to work out what the hell is going on with these zombies, and they leave a lot of tech and stuff behind. And he said in number 2, the main character is going to start making use of all this leftover tech and stuff, and we were going to go forward, and there's like still good people around to use this tech or create this tech, and we had great plans. So I think they're trying. Even though I think the studio that made it have not really together anymore, but I think they're trying to just drum up enough publicity that Sony have another look at it, because it really does finish on a cliffhanger. Like you play the story and everything, but it really does finish on a cliffhanger, and you're like, well, there's got to be a number 2. And because I played the game, I got it early on this year on PS Plus. But by the time I'd got to it, people were like, "Oh no, there's not going to be a number 2." So I played it, and I had no real expectations, and I absolutely loved it. Really, really loved this game. Loved the characters and everything. It's stupidly fun. Anyway, we'll wait and see. I know the game has done really well on PC, so maybe that will kick Sony or whoever to just say, "Listen, there's enough noise about this game, so let's go and make a second one." It's got like a really good soundtrack as well. It's got like Lewis Capaldi on it. It's really bizarre. Like
that's just it though. Sometimes like games, movies, shows, they can get lost in the shuffle. Like, and it's sometimes these little like hidden gems that you don't really know a lot about, or there's just something bigger that comes along that's competing at the time, and it doesn't make whatever you wanted to do any less special. It just gets drowned out sometimes, and it's tough. But then eventually, quality always shines through, and those stories eventually will always come back in some fashion. And obviously, they've put it on PlayStation Plus now, and it seems like it's almost being rediscovered with a new life. People are like finding it all over again.
I think because it went on PS Plus, and because it was free, I think lots of people took advantage of it going on. God, we've heard things that this game's good. Okay, I don't want to pay 50, 60 pounds for it, whatever, $80. But I'll get it on PS Plus. And I think when it went on PS Plus, people were like, this is really, really good. Now, that's not necessarily good for Sony, because they're like, well, you got it for free. But ultimately, isn't that where we're heading anyway? I mean, there's talk that in the next couple of months, PlayStation are going to reveal a new service to rival Xbox Live, because they're getting their ass kicked by Xbox Live. Let's be honest. PS Now is nowhere near. Xbox Live, I think all the games are practically brand new. It's a streaming service. It's like Netflix. You know, that's what PlayStation have got to start looking at. And I know that's what they are looking at, both of them, because both companies are starting to buy up all of the little studios, so they're going to get games. And listen, Sony have got that sweet Spider-Man money just sitting in their arse pocket. They can cope with this. Yeah. So hopefully they do. But you're right.
Say, and not only that, but they've got the connection now with Marvel, and you do wonder on the studio side if that's impacted some of the game development side as well, because they've got Spider-Man 2 coming up. They've got Wolverine. They've got some good games in the works. They've just had Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I think that's Guardians of the Galaxy was like Square Enix, but like they're doing well with some of that stuff as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I think for me, that was one of the big things that swayed me over to PS5 was the fact that these exclusive games, just the quality of them, and hopefully, like you said, if they're able to merge PS Now and PS Plus together, I mean, that's a huge library of games as well. Like PS Now's got loads of stuff on it.
Yeah, it has. It has. Sorry, I was having a little problem with me headphones there. No, it has.
Just silence.
No, no, it has. It has. Both companies have got huge libraries, and they just need to. Well, Xbox have already worked that out, haven't they? But one of the things I just want to go back very quickly to something you just said there. I think you're absolutely right about things getting lost in the shuffle. But I think the difference is because it's been such a lean year for games. I think that because it's been so lean, we've had periods, and that because game makers are sitting at home rather than a studio, so games like that you can find again after a year. And I think it'd be such a shame to waste such good IP. It really would. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially maybe people who skipped a generation of gaming like yourself and have just found it and are getting good word of mouth on things like Days Gone. Listen, I'll tell you right now, when you play The Last of Us, and this is where I'm really excited for you, and I just want you to play it as soon as you can, right? I think it's got to be the next thing you play. But when you play that, you'll be looking for more things like that, and I think that's where Days Gone will get that real bump in in people revisiting it.
Yeah. No, that'll be dead interesting. That, so I guess we'll have to wait till April to see what news comes of this new PlayStation service. But I'm loving it so far. So that's made my Christmas, along with loads of amazing Marvel and Star Wars content. It's been keep me in the sweet spot.
Well, what? Let me just, before we just jump into like our Marvel, Star Wars talk, is there anything you watched over Christmas that you really got into? I know Cobra Kai's come out. I haven't watched Cobra Kai. I haven't watched it yet. But is there anything else that you got into over Christmas or in the last few months that is a little bit left field, is a little bit different? Of course, everyone was getting into Squid Game, but is there anything else you got into?
I watched a couple of shows here and there, but honestly, I've been trying to catch up on some movies, and I've been talking to some fellow critics as the award season heats up, and kind of starting to revisit some films that deserve a bit more attention, but maybe are getting missed. So I've just been trying to catch up on a few of those. I watched The Green Knight with Dev Patel. That's just a mad film. It's a lot of people kind of not really quite sure how to take that one. It's just weird. It's bonkers, but it's kind of one of those ones I keep thinking back through my mind, and I'm almost encouraged to kind of rewatch it. I watched The Power of the Dog, which is a Netflix film with Benedict Cumberbatch. That it's quite long and it's a bit of a thinker, but I struggled because I thought Benedict Cumberbatch he plays a cowboy on a ranch, and it's like, I think it's supposed to be set around the early 1900s or late 1800s, so like less technology, more ranches and stuff like that. But I struggled with his accent a bit because he's supposed to be this heavy cowboy type, and the English twang just interferes with it. It's a tough accent to pull off. It's an interesting film, but it does drag on. But the ending's kind of like supposed to be this like Baba kind of thing, like you don't see coming. It was interesting, but I wouldn't say it was amazing by any means. I did catch Belfast, which is a Kenneth Branagh story of Belfast in the 1960s during all the violence and tension in the country with Catholics living in Protestant neighborhoods and things like that. And it just literally tells the story of a family trying to survive through those, just trying to be a normal family through those hardships, and what that looks like. It's got a very family focus and on the culture of like the Northern Irish and stuff like that. It's a very sweet story, but like, and it's nice to see, because I feel like often Irish characters just get depicted as like the comedy in a story, like the silly goofy ones that say things in a funny accent, but the story's so sweet and nice. And I had an Irish granddad, and the granddad in this is perfect. It's just so nice. And I watched the featurette on it, and Kenneth Branagh basically said it was a love letter to all of the, the Irish that stayed, to the Irish that left, and, the Irish who are no longer with us. Because he, at the age of 9, his family was from Northern Ireland, and he was one of those families that fled Ireland, in search of a better life kind of thing. So it's just a really sweet film, and I honestly encourage people to go watch it because it's just very, very good.
Yeah, that's like gonna be a big one of the award seasons, I think.
It's tough because I think some of that will get lost on people, because I know I've spoken to a lot of American critics and critics who aren't as familiar with the dynamic of like the Northern Irish and the Catholic Protestant tensions that happened for decades and all of the violence that erupted from it, and some of that's lost on them. So like it almost looks like Belfast is a bit more of a like, oh, look at all the sweet things about family and stuff like that, but you're like, this is a very stark contrast because they're literally suffering through a war zone, and then you've got the English there with the army, like basically like just being awful, being English.
Being English. Just being English, just being horrendous people in someone else's land.
Absolutely. But it's just, absolutely. I mean, just being English. That sums
being
it up
English. Just being English.
Yeah. But no, it's a lovely film. It really is. His soundtrack's fantastic as well. Like, just some great songs that pair with it. So it's good.
A couple of people.
What about you, Ed?
Well, I'm just going to say, a couple of people in the comments saying about should they get a PS5 or should they just get a cheap PS4? Get a PS5. Just get a PS5. Just honestly, because these games are amazing on them, and that's where the future is. PS5. So just get one. I know it's difficult to get one.
The strangest thing I've told people about the PS5 to try and like advertise it is the immensity of the controller.
Yeah, it is.
Like haptic feedback on the controller is just intense. It's so good.
Yeah, it is. It is brilliant. So I'd definitely get a 5. I'm just trying to think of what I watched. Apart from the Disney Plus stuff, the only thing I've really watched is because of the success of the Squid Game. I watched the Silent Sea, which is another Korean show.
Yeah,
which is it's a sort of moody science fiction show about basically the Earth in the future is running out of water, and the seas are drying up. And I mean the irony, because like of course we're supposed to be getting with the ice melting, we're supposed to be getting higher tides and wet, but the water is dried up and people get rationed water. And there's a base on the moon where there's been stuff going on, experiments going on, and basically a team have to go up there, and when they go up there, they just find some very strange things going on. It's not scary. There's a little couple of jumpy bits, but they're not scary jumpy. They're just like, that kind of thing. It's got a bit of a mystery. It's dark in parts. It's looking at what could happen in the future. It's not preachy. It's just it's a good little story, 8-parter, where you just it's just good, and it's got that kind of I did watch it with English because I watched Squid Games in Korean with the subtitles, but I did watch this just because it was a little bit more faster. It was a little bit like wasn't 100% sure what it was going to be like, so and to be honest, the English was fine. It's got a couple of recognisable faces from Squid Game as well, but it's good. It was a good little show. It's on Netflix. It's done well apparently, and hopefully it's going to get a second season. And but that's good if you're looking for like little things to watch, because apart from that, I was just watching a lot of football documentaries because they're my favourite thing. But
I was going to say you finished up watching why am I forgetting the name of it? Invasion, and what was the other one on Apple Plus?
I didn't watch Invasion. I watched the other one, Foundation.
Foundation.
I watched Foundation, but I also watched The Shrink Next Door. You've just reminded me. I watched The Shrink Next Door.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell. That was very, very good. You've just reminded me.
I need to watch that.
That was very different. to what I thought that was going to be. You know, Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd, you know what you're expecting. It didn't go that way. It didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. It was really, I really enjoyed that because it's based on a true story as well. And it's actually based on a true story that was revealed in a podcast. It was actually a podcast that the guy told his story on, basically. And they took that story and made a show out of it. And it's brilliant that it is a true story. And in the podcast, it was told by the guy himself. So, of course, you're getting his side of it, but on the flip side, his version of events have been proven to be true, and that's all I can say.
Gotcha.
But it is really good, and Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell almost play opposite versions. Like, they play like Will Ferrell, it feels like, should be playing Paul Rudd's role, and Paul Rudd should be playing Will Ferrell's role from what you've seen of them in films and stuff. Yeah. And that's what makes it. I think that's what makes it really, really good. It's very, honestly, very. It's again, it came out Christmas week, or sorry, the last one was Christmas week. Obviously, the weekly.
Yeah.
It came out just before in December or around December, and I think again it went a little bit under the radar because it's on Apple TV. But over here now, Apple TV's been integrated into Sky, so I think maybe more people are starting to see it now. And they're getting that like free. I'm sure loads of them have got like free memberships squirreled away from all the devices they've bought. So if I was you and you've got one, I'd get it, especially if you've got Sky, and go and watch it. And Foundation is for
all mankind, Mythic Quest.
All Mankind should be back soon, shouldn't it? It should be back in the next couple of months. All Mankind, about March.
Think so, yeah, because I think they revealed at some point they were done filming. I think I've some of the news has gotten lost in the shuffle, to be honest. Yeah. But yes, I think hopefully they should be done with that.
Yeah, Foundation is a very, very Foundation heavy. It's Game of Thrones. Heavy. It's Game of Thrones in space. It's very difficult at times to follow. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, I was gonna. I got screens for it and did the review for But Why Though, and it was some of the episodes. It was tough to. There was an interesting plot there, but you had to kind of follow it through, and it's tough to kind of keep track with the timeline. It's not until once you get to like episode 4, it kind of starts to come together a bit. Yeah. And you're like, oh.
The timelines are all over the place. 1 minute they're in one place, 1 minute they're with somebody else, and they're set in the future. Like, even right at the end, I don't saying it, but even right at the end, it's like, you're like, what just happened? Where are we? What's going on? But it's good. It's good if you're willing.
And that's the funny thing as well with the show. Like, it obviously it was always bound to lose a certain number of viewers just because of its nature. Yeah. But the book is even more intense than the show.
Yeah, and of course, I think that the number one thing driving people to Apple TV is obviously Ted Lasso. So if you haven't got it and you haven't seen Ted Lasso, then that's obviously the number one thing. I think that is mad how that has become their big show, and a show about an American coaching a football team in England is mad. The way that is their big tentpole show.
The thing that shocked me most, like, Americans love it.
Yeah,
but I was more surprised that the English love it. Like the Brits love it. Like everyone's really taking Ted into their hearts.
We love it because
cold, dead English hearts.
We love it because it's about our sport, and it's an American who is trying to embrace it on his own terms, but not trying to change it, and that's what's brilliant about it. So it's got that familiarity of American sitcoms with a guy who, I know we've discussed this a million times, with a guy who wants to love the sport and wants to find out about the sport and doesn't want to change the sport and doesn't want to call, when he hears names of things, he goes, that's very English, or he doesn't go, why can't we change that to like something else? He's trying to fit in with the game. And then you've got like Roy Kent, who's like this, like who's the archetype English hard man, old school footballer who you look at it and go, you should be like going, you're a tit. And he does say that quite a lot and says worse things. But it's the way they all come together. And it's brilliant. And it's brilliant. And Series 3, I can't wait for Series 3. And it's really successful. It's winning awards. And everyone seems to be on board with it. Everyone is becoming like there's people in it who are like are sort of. There's people in it who like English people who are like minor comedians over here that could turn out to be huge stars in America, but over here they're like really minor comedians. Like, and that's bizarre, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and yeah. So watch that if you haven't. Let's jump in to some of the things that we just want to talk about that we've missed over the last few months. We'll talk about Spider-Man at the end. In case you haven't seen it, we'll talk about Spider-Man at the end.
Well, we're going to talk about it.
Well, we're going to talk
over it.
Yeah, but we're not going to be here all night. So you're just going to talk about it.
No.
Before that, we'll talk about Boba Fett. But we're going to jump into a few things that you should have seen. Something that I haven't seen that I will see this week. So Shang-Chi obviously came out around the time we last did our podcast, I think, because I must have seen it before I got COVID, I think.
Yeah, so it came out in the cinemas around September.
Yeah.
I think it was beginning of September, and it hit Disney Plus around November.
Yeah,
which is quite a quick turnaround when you think about it.
Yeah, but it's Marvel, Disney, isn't it? And obviously COVID and everything. So you've seen it now. I
have.
Really good film, isn't it? Good connectivity, moves it all forward to getting new people onto the Avengers, and just a real really well done film that you can understand now why they didn't do why they were very reluctant to touch the 10 rings in the Iron Man 3 and stuff, and why it was we have to wait for people who this is about to get into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean it the way it crosses into not just Asian culture, but it's American Asian culture. It was just so fantastically blended into the Marvel show. It's so much a kung fu martial arts film as it is a Marvel film as well, and it all just blends together really nicely. And the fight choreography is absolutely fantastic, and the big fight scene at the end, I was genuinely surprised at how much Asian mythos is involved in this. And
they probably did it.
All of the beasts and the animals in it. I was just stunned.
No, they did it absolutely. They did it properly, and they did it with people who understood the culture and people from the culture. And then even there was even little things in the film. I believe the main star was why I don't think he should wear Jordans with the suit, and they were no, that's your American side. The rest of your suit is your heritage, but the boots are what show that you are American. And it was there's little touches like that I think are really good in it. And obviously we have. I'm not gonna mention the end because I don't think it's fair in case anyone's watching it. The same as if anyone's in the comments, don't put spoilers to things, please. Don't do that.
Spoiler free.
But even how they handle the connectivity, I'm just gonna say the connectivity to the other films is done really, really well and organically, and I really liked it. I thought although oddly I haven't watched it since I went to cinema. I'm always guilty of that. I always really like Marvel films, and then I'm very reluctant to watch them quite quickly after. I don't know why that is. It's almost I want enough time so that when I watch it again it feels fresh.
Can we talk about the one obstacle or the one downfall of this film?
Yeah, I mean, I actually take a second there, but the one obstacle is the fact that there is a very, very bad Scouser type person in it who just happens to be a large Liverpool fan.
Yeah, what was that accent?
But he was an Iron Man. he was a Liverpool fan in Iron Man 3. That was
yes. Oh yeah,
he was a Liverpool fan. That is mentioned, and I was okay with that because he was the bad guy. So I was the bad guy's a Liverpool fan. And I was that's fine. You can have him. You can have him. He's yours. But in this, he got a bit of redemption, and he's they've just kept they've kept the continuity. That's all I'm gonna say. He's kept the continuity, and they've gone with it. And yeah, it's an odd choice. It's an odd. I know in the first one he's I know he's Scouser, but but he's not. So like the actor's not. So it was an odd choice to make him that. I don't know why they did that. Like in the first in Iron Man 3, they sort of went, someone went, make him a Liverpool fan, or does that mean we have to? Or why did they decide they wanted to have him as he was from Liverpool? Like there's no reason for that other than someone going, I want you to be a Liverpool fan, so can you please play this character Scouse? Like I don't get that. Like I hear it's King Leo's the toast to Croydon, but apart from that, I don't know. I don't know why.
No, and this is the issue I have across the board with actors. If an actor can't do an accent, just don't do it. Like, why am I forgetting his name? In Highlander, help me out. Scott
hang on.
Who pretends to be a Spaniard.
Hang on. In Highlander, if we're going to talk Highlander, Christopher Lambert, right? Who is from Belgium, I believe, played a Scottishman. And a Scottishman played a Spaniard. Sean Connery. What the hell is all that about, please? He's like, yes, I'm the Spaniard, and I'm going to teach you how to be the one. Are you ready, Miss Moneypenny? Yes.
I just love that he puts like no effort into being anything else other than Scottish. He's like,
get me
one thing only.
Get me a Shem Miguel while you're there.
But yeah, like I just don't get it. Like he can't do the accent.
No, I'd love to know though. I'd love to know why he's why was the choice made? And don't get me wrong, they kept the continuity. Like, and obviously they couldn't change it, obviously, and he's like got little Liverpool bits around. But I don't understand that choice. Why did they say that he was going to be from Liverpool? What is the connection? Is it just because like he just fancied trying to sound like one of the Beatles? Like he sounds like one of the vultures from the Jungle Book. You know, the four, because in the original. No, but in the Jungle Book, the original one, they were supposed to be played by the Beatles, and they couldn't get them to do it. Apparently,
well, because they've got the hairstyles,
and they were like, "What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?" And they're supposed to be the Beatles, but the vultures, and I don't know. And maybe he's trying to play them. It's just a weird choice. I
still remember the fella who does the voice acting for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you sent me the interview.
Oh, Peter Svenevich.
No.
Okay. Oh no, so I think
from the animation. The animation.
Oh yeah.
He's done loads of stuff in Star Wars, and he like talks about how he comes up with like Obi-Wan's like the voice he uses in that the animation and stuff like that, and he says he tries to like this old school like Beatles sound and voice and.
Oh yeah. I can't remember that. Who was that? Who did he? Was,
I have to. Who's he playing? I have to look it up. You sent it.
Who was he playing?
Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, the animation.
Oh, okay. Sorry, only because I was getting mixed up then, because the guy who played Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace, he's from Liverpool. No, that's the guy who plays in the animation. The guy who does the voice for Darth Maul in the film is from Liverpool. He's from Liverpool. That's Peter Serafinovich. The guy in Guardians of the Galaxy who goes, "Prove me wrong. This guy's an a-hole." That's him. He's from Liverpool. He's also in Shaun of the Dead. He's in the shower. He's been in a lot of things. He's from Liverpool.
So it's James Arnold Taylor.
Okay. So he tries to do a Beatles thing. I can't remember. What happened yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig up the interview, but yeah, he does. He like basically makes Obi-Wan's voice. He does like two different voices and he blends them together.
Does he do? Oh, is he doing like a Scouse Alec Guinness?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. But yeah, that's how he came up with like trying to get Alec Guinness, as like he tried to summon his voice, a young Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I don't even know what a metachlorian is, lad, so don't start. All right, don't start. No, it is.
Yes, getting back on.
Shang-Chi, if you haven't seen it, it is really, really good. And again, it's like the Kickstarter, but it's and what it's good about it is quite self-contained as well, because we are getting into the era of and we'll talk about this when we talk about Spider-Man, but we are getting into the era now of the multiverse, and we do have some theories on that we will discuss when we talk about Spider-Man. But obviously Shang-Chi led into the Eternals. I haven't seen the Eternals yet. And I'm going to watch it this week because it's just dropped on Disney Plus. And the reason I haven't seen it is something you actually mentioned before. The day it came out is the day I got COVID, right? So I got COVID, and I got COVID bad. Like, I got hit bad, like really bad. Like, and I could not barely move for like 3 weeks. And so the film just passed me by. And then I didn't want to go out. You know, I went to work, but didn't want to go out. Didn't want to go in a cinema. So that's like,
because you had a lot of after effects even when you recovered from
I'm
it.
I'm still not right from COVID. I'm still don't feel right from COVID, like, at all. But I didn't really want to go out and stuff, because once it hit me and stuff, I was like, I feel like crap all the time, and I just didn't want to go out. So basically, there was 3 weeks, and then you add like another 2 or 3 weeks on top of that, and before you know it, the film's gone. It's gone. So I missed it. I basically missed it in the cinema. So, and then it was just like, well, I'll wait. I'll wait. So so here we are, and the thing about it as well is I know enough about Eternals to know that actually it almost feels like, yes, it's in the MCU, but it's like it's not got anything to do with the MCU at this point. The people who are in it, they've done their own thing, they've had their own journey. So I'll watch it this week on Disney Plus, and that's fine. And I'll watch it like a normal. I'll just watch it, see how it all connects. I know it's not massively connected. I know the people who are in it can go on, but I didn't feel like that I needed to rush out anywhere and see it. Like, so, and I suppose that's what it's affected the box office everywhere, isn't it? Everything's been affected by that. But that's actually just led me on to thinking about something that I completely forgot. The next film I went to see was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh yeah,
that was the next thing I went to see, and that is just, what a film, what a film. If you want a film that connects the old to the new, and gives you it all in the feels. That is a big one.
That ending was like, very good, and they introduced some interesting stuff through it as well. Like, they kind of expanded on the Ghostbusters mythos, and because the CG was good, it all worked, and because it was done by the people who were involved, it worked, and like, you know, the director and obviously his son directed it. So it was great. That was really, really great. And that was the first movie I went to see it, like, after Shang-Chi. So Ghostbusters was phenomenal, and had that real emotional attachment if you went and saw Ghostbusters. Like, you know, I don't know how it plays for people who may have only seen Ghostbusters on TV and stuff, but for someone who went to see Ghostbusters, I went to see Ghostbusters, the first Ghostbusters, in like December around my birthday in 1984. I went to see Ghostbusters 2 in the cinema around my birthday in 1989. And I went to see Ghostbusters Afterlife on my birthday in 2001. So it's very serendipitous. And because I got this, because again, it's something I've seen all my life. It's stuck with me, and one of my favourite films, because it's a near perfect film. I know it's not near perfect. If you look back on it, the special effects are really wonky. And if you've seen the Netflix, what's the show called on Netflix? The movies that made us.
Yeah. If you watch that, because it was made all at the last minute, the special effects are pretty terrible.
Well, I was going to say, I actually got the chance to review. I got to guest write at a site called Nerd News Social, and they got me access to this this 2-hour Ghostbuster documentary, and it takes even further and, you know, goes way behind the scene, and there's just so much more to that movie, the making of it, that was just, you look at it and you're like, it's a wonder they got it. To where it was.
It had They didn't even have the rights for Ghostbusters. They had to do two different cuts for Ghostbusters, and then like another name in case they didn't get the name, and it all worked out in the end. But It's just a phenomenal, and I love all the callbacks. The callbacks are phenomenal, so I got to see that. But I'll watch Eternals this week, and I know because as I said, I wasn't in any rush because I knew it didn't really connect the MCU in any way, so I wasn't really that arsed. But I watched
I only just watched it today because it came out on Disney Plus. I haven't made much of a segue to the cinema apart from. I mean, I had to see Spider-Man. I mean, the way people were ranting and raving, it just... The last time I went to the movie theater before Spider-Man was to see Sonic, which is ironic because now they're advertising for Sonic 2, and I'm just like, okay, this
we're all a bit like
couple-month pandemic.
We're all a bit like that, aren't we? But that leads us on to Hawkeye, which...
Hawkeye, yeah.
I don't know what people's expectations were for Hawkeye. See, I've always liked the Hawkeye character. I liked his dryness, and I liked the fact that how it was like it was expanded in Age of Ultron to having the family and the house and everything. It just gave him a little bit more depth because in the first one he was just a guy with the bow and arrow. And then obviously when Endgame came, you know, and the way the Ronin character got expanded and the way he was so pivotal to the end and stuff. And obviously he was he was like our emotional attachment, wasn't he? Because of what happened to his family, and he was there because he wasn't with the Avengers. And it worked brilliantly, and it tied it all together. And then this tied it in brilliantly after the ending of Black Widow. So when we got this, and then the cast is so good as well.
So good.
And then because it's set over a week, and it was set at Christmas in New York, and you're watching it in the build up to Christmas, like it just, for me, it was so good. It was like, I honestly think this may be the best show Marvel have done for Disney Plus, because it's grounded, because it's quite funny, because of the things that happen in it, the links to the past, and because all three characters are really good. The dog, the thing about his wife, like, it's so good. Like, it's so good. I loved it to bits. I absolutely loved it, and I couldn't find any fault with it. Any fault with it at all for a good show.
Absolutely, the street level approach, the humor, but like paired in with the emotion. Like I was reviewing it for But Why Don't, and I constantly commented like, I'm amazed at how much is packed into each episode. I mean, the plot is going so many different directions constantly, and there was so many good introductions of new characters. You've got Kate Bishop, even the LARPers. The LARPers were amazing.
And they were all...
I want a short with those guys in it.
Well, the cool thing of the LARPers is all the characters are characters from the comic book. They've just been they've just been they're all real people in the comics. They just had their slightly tweaked with. But the casting was perfect. Haley Steinfeld is just brilliant, and she's funny, and she's a bit geeky, but she you know, she can put
she's good. She can
pull it all off.
Like, she can back it up.
Florence Pugh is just amazing as Yelena. She's so funny. She's got amazing comic timing. Like, she is so good, and her scenes were brilliant.
She's intimidating as well.
Yeah.
Like like later on in the season, which is no spoiler, but when she eventually sits down with Kate Bishop, she's
Kate Bishop.
Intimidating. Yeah, Kate Bishop.
Hello, Kate Bishop.
She just constantly say her name. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
But she's intimidating. Like, she just switches on a dime, and you can see that assassin in her. And her background story as well, when you get that scene from her, like what she was doing during certain parts of certain films, was so good. Very reminiscent of what happened within WandaVision when you get that like flashback sequence as well. there was just so many things to enjoy. The guy who played Tony Dalton, who played Jack the King. It's amazing.
He was so stupid.
Now is my time to shine.
He reminded me of if anyone watches like Toast or Toast of Tinseltown's just started. It's so funny because he's like, So you know Toast is, don't you? The guy he's in the guy who's in he's in What We Do in the Shadows, and he's doing the voice. He's doing the voice in the
Boba Fett, Boba Fett as well.
So but he's so funny because he's like him. He's got the mannerisms. And what's funny about that Toast, by the way, he's called Toast of Tinseltown. He's going to America, and he's going, I've just got a part in the new Star Wars movie, and it's just like, yeah, that's funny because you're in Star Wars now, which is hilarious. But Matt Berry, his name is. You can recognize his voice everywhere because he does adverts in this country, and it's just like got one of those voices that was instantly recognizable.
Do you know what? He started to do a couple of commercials in the US now as well. He's just got this funny voice.
You want to see the people who were in Toast of Tinseltown. Like Toast was on years ago, and I never watched it. Everyone raved about it, and Toast of Tinseltown started last week, so I watched it, and it's just so funny. But the Hollywood A-listers who are in it is unbelievable. Just doing like little cameos. There's loads of them in it, just like little cameos. Yeah. So yeah, he's brilliant, and he just reminds me of Toast. He just reminds me of Matt Berry. Gotcha. And it was just a brilliant show. And right. I'm just gonna drop a spoiler here. I don't give up. I'm gonna give you a 5-second warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look, you know the dog. The dog's amazing. Also, Kingpin is as well. They brought Kingpin back. I mean, oh my god, they brought Kingpin back. And what is cool is right.
Vanessa.
They always said, what was great about Daredevil was, well, it has to be separate from the MCU because you could never do this street level fighting in an MCU stuff, and now they're doing it, and that's what's so good. It's because, and we spoke about this before, it feels like now the stuff in the MCU is so out there and is in space and in the multiverse and all over the place that street level stuff is just like the normal people now, like the normal superheroes, and that's what's brilliant about it. And Kingpin was just absolutely amazing, and it was like a proper Kingpin, and the way they filmed him from below, so he looked huge.
He looks massive, and you're just like, Jesus Christ.
It was brilliant. And I know,
even when he was like coming running at Kate Bishop, you're like, he's gonna crush her.
And I know people have got different thoughts on the ending, his ending, but trust us, if you know anything about the comics, it's fine. It'll all play out the way it's supposed. Because this is the thing, when shows like this end, people go, didn't like the ending, or it should have had something after the credits. And it's like, yeah, it will have something after the credits. The next fucking series, or the next thing, Marvel has got... Marvel's got so many...
That's what I loved about the show. There was so much setup to this. Easily could do a season 2, like without a doubt.
But they've got Echo coming up, haven't they? This has set Echo up perfectly, hasn't it? She's an anti-hero. They can't just go, we need Hawkeye to do something again. Hawkeye, as the main Hawkeye, will be a cameo fella now. He ain't going to be in any more films, I don't think. He's going to be like, he might get a second season, and I only think that's because of the revelation about his wife.
Yeah.
And he might even be like the second season might be about his wife, and he might just be like a bit part in it. But this has opened the door to Echo now, and then more about Kingpin, and they've laid the groundwork for her to come into it. So when people go, the ending, we need to find out. You will find out. Like, far too many people are like see Marvel things as like one-off thing. Well, of course they're not. It's the MCU. And you'll get it quite soon, the next thing, and it'll be Echo, and there'll be the next thing, and there'll be the next thing, and all these things. Like in this show, you had the like the tracksuit mafia, and you had like the auction for all that stuff. Well, then you've got like that a little bit of Armor Wars there, haven't you? You've got at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier when you've got Peggy Sharon Carter walking out. Who's she on the phone to? It could be Kingpin. These are all the little things now we're going to start getting. So. And of course we got Rogers the musical, which is just hilarious, and I'm so I find it hilarious that that is burning so many people's heads out.
I watched it with my wife, and she absolutely loved the post-credit scene because she's a big musical fan. So the one guy who's in the suit is actually a big Broadway performer.
Yeah, he's a
and
big,
he was in the original Rent.
When
it was on Broadway. And it's funny because we just watched which will connect to a conversation later, Tick Tick Boom with Andrew Garfield. And he's in that as well. And I said to her, I was like, oh, there's the guy. And it's because Tick Tick Boom's based on the guy who wrote Rent. And I was like, oh, it's all connected.
It's all
everything connects to Marvel.
It's all connected. Hayden is asking in the comments. He's asking, what is the revelation about his wife didn't understand the whole stolen watch thing? Right, Hayden, I'm not going to reveal it, but basically, just if you want to know, I don't want to reveal it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, right? But if you want to know, Google Agent 19, right? Google that, and that if you want to know, that'll tell you everything you need to know. If you are a comic book fan, it's a pretty big deal for the character. The character is her character in the Marvel world is a bit of a big deal. So if you
alternatively, you could come in the Discord and talk with us about it. Because we're always talking in the Discord about these things. But yeah, so there you go. Yeah, that's all explained. But yeah, exactly. Google Agent 19, and it kind of explains it all. It's good. It somewhat ties to something that got decanonized, but
there's no such thing as decanonized now in the multiverse.
Oh, wrench.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing because there's things now that are being canonized. I loved it.
What did you think of the Bros?
They were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. They were just funny and they were just good. They were just really good.
And for anyone who's interested in getting into comics or who's reading comics and just not read this one, just read the Matt Fraction Hawkeye run, because this whole series based on that comic, and it's phenomenal. It's so good. You'll see as you're reading through it, like how the show took inspiration from it with a lot of things. And for me, I loved it because there's even like lines in the comic which they pulled literally right out. Like the bit where they're joking with the arrows and how she's like, you need to put a name on these arrows. Like it literally ripped from the comics, and like they were joking about the boomerang arrow. Again, that's whole like sequence is like ripped from the comics. It's awesome to see because like, you know, some of that stuff like people are like, oh, it's comics, but like this stuff now is all informing the movies and the shows and things like that. So
take the best bits.
So relevant.
Take the best bits, don't you? So I thought Hawkeye was absolutely brilliant, and it's been one of my favorite shows on. And it just shows you where you can take a character that a lot of people would have been going, why are you giving Hawkeye his own show? But explained it, and it also like with things like losing his hearing, and explaining why. He's like, well, and then it gives you all like the moments where he smashes through windows and stands next to explosions. And it's like, yeah, that's probably why he lost his hearing. Like that's probably why.
It was not like some like big exposition of like this happening. It's just like, I don't know. I'm being a soldier and a hero, and it's constant explosions.
I'll tell you another thing before we move on. A couple of other things that I really liked about this show. Number one, it showed that he's in this like Hawkeye, the guy with the bow and arrow. No, he's an assassin. Hawkeye was a proper hardcore assassin. Like we never quite got that. Whereas like Black Widow was always seen as an assassin and was always like seen as like just because she didn't have a bow and arrow. She wasn't the bow and arrow person. She was just really good at fighting. So you never quite got that. You never quite got that thing of like you always just thought this woman is a badass assassin. In this, and obviously taken from Ronan, you realise that he's more than just a guy with a bow and arrow. He's got proper skills. We've seen it with Ronan and Saw. We see him fighting in this, how easy he takes people down. Like people who are like like he's twice their age, and he just destroys them. So you get a real idea that this fella is proper hard. Like, he's not just a member of the team for because he's got a bow and arrow. This fella's a proper assassin, and that's why he's there. He had real skills. But the other thing about it is the fact that a bit more than the Black Widow film is that you finally get, like, Black Widow's death finally gets its moment where you can, like, properly mourn it. And he goes to the monument in New York and he, like, says goodbye to her. And then obviously there's the conflict with Yelena. She properly gets a send off, and I know she sort of got that in Black Widow just at the end sequence, but it wasn't done the way it, like, fully deserved.
It was with the two people who were closest with her.
Exactly. And it felt like she finally got that little bit of respect that she deserved. And again, this is what I love about these shows now, is that it can just go below the surface and give these people a little bit more time, and where you find out like a little bit more about them, and that they all deserve to have a little bit more time. And that's what's amazing about these TV shows, is that, and that's I
was going to say it's absolutely fantastic, everything you've just said. I mean, I was stunned. Alakwa Cox is a first-time actor. Like, she is actually, handicapped. She has the prosthetic leg. She is deaf, and she is, of a Native American race. Like, she, like, and that was her first time in a Marvel show that was, like, that successful. It was just, like, stunning. I mean, there was so many things this show pulled off that people just, no one was like anticipating it would be one of the better shows of the year.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I loved it because it was a proper Christmas show and proper led up, and it had all those little feels of like Die Hard and Home Alone 2, and all these just, like, little moments.
The bit where he can't hear his little boy when he's on the phone, like, just some, like, real little, like, emotional moments there. You're like, man, it's killer.
It's fantastic.
So
fantastic show,
good.
And we'll have to see where it goes. But what it does is, just the final point on it. What was good on it was Kate Bishop. But Kate Bishop's relationship with Yelena was really, really good, and that's brilliant for setting up the Young Avengers, or just general Avengers, because their relationship and their chemistry is so good. So brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Like I said, I'm amazed at how much this show introduced and everything it tackled. So I know some of the shows we were, like, watching WandaVision, you're like, it's over, and you're like, but, like, they've still got all these, like, Hawkeye packed it in so much. They packed in comedy, emotion, new characters, old characters, and I was just constantly amazed. They made it work, and made it successful. Like, they tackled a lot. So fair play to them.
Sorry, I just want to address something in the comments. It's really, really funny. There's two people having an argument over whether I had COVID or not. I think it's hilarious.
Well, I was going to say, I'm still curious. I still want to know if you're giving out free PS5s.
So the Eternals came out November the 5th, and I know it came, and I know that on that night, Toffee TV were supposed to be doing a show in town, and I had to miss it, and I then was absent for 2 weeks. So if anyone wants to check the videos, I didn't go to the Spurs game. So if you want to check the Spurs game, that was on the 7th of November. I just find it quite funny because apparently it's trendy to have COVID. Well, I should have told my lungs that and my body that it was trendy to have COVID, and the fact that I couldn't smell or taste anything. So soup tasted like I was eating sick because there was no taste to it. So maybe it's trendy for some people. I just felt like death.
I was going to say, I will share. I was obviously, Ped and I, friends, text each other. Like, I was texting Ped while he was down and out. I made the joke because I knew he had his PS5, but he was saving it for Santa because he's a good boy. Yeah. But I was making the joke. I was like, well, at least you've got some time now to relax and, play your PS5. I remember the text you sent me back and you said, I've just got about enough energy to text you at the moment. I'm dying.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't go as far as saying it was dying, but I was in a bit of a mess, and I didn't go in the studio for 2 weeks. I just want to make that clear because apparently it's trendy to have COVID, but it wasn't trendy in my house because me and my wife both had it. So, and it was a bit of a nightmare. So there you go. So if you wanna review the tapes, there you go. The 8th of November. We played Spurs, and all that week and the following week, I was nowhere near it. Apparently, the cough police want to know what word I was, but there you go. No, it was fantastic.
yeah,
Let's just jump
show.
off. Let's just jump off. Let's just move on to another TV show while we're talking about it. Because it's. I tell you what, let's leave Boba Fett to the end because it's a current show. Let's jump into Spider-Man. So. Spider-Man was absolutely, it was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and I got to see it. I got to see it the day it came out, or the day after it came out. Sorry, I went to Friday. It came out on the Wednesday, and it wasn't spoiled for me, which was amazing. I know you didn't get to see it till later. Was anything spoiled for you? Did you see anything? Did you hear anything that could spoil it for you?
See, it's so hard because obviously, for us, we have to follow, scoopers on Twitter. So I've heard a lot of rumors for a while. I constantly see rumors and things that are popping up for potential shows and movies. So like I'd known about some of this stuff for a while. There was it didn't ruin it for me by any means. But I didn't have anything directly spoiled. There was I'd managed to swerve enough. I'd almost caught a few accidents. I'd seen something about a death, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not surprised. A movie this big is bound to have a death. I'd seen rumors about certain cameos, but I'd managed to swerve it. So I'm not quite sure how I did it, to be honest, because there was a lot of good scenes, and I think I blocked a lot of the words.
Yeah, I blocked everything out of it. Right, if you haven't seen it, please, we're gonna talk. We're not gonna get massively in, but we are gonna destroy it for you. So if you haven't seen it, stop listening, and come back, and or don't come back, whatever you want. But we are gonna talk about Spider-Man.
It's a free world.
We are gonna talk about Spider-Man. So if you haven't seen it, probably best stop listening or watching now because I don't want to ruin it to anyone. But we can't really talk about it because it's so filled with spoilers. So stop watching now. That'd probably be a good thing. So no, I loved it. And it was a very, very well thought out, put together film that really didn't make too many mistakes. Like, the trailer didn't give too much away. It was clever the way they left straight from the last film and then it was like how they used that time gap of people thinking he'd murdered Mysterio, and then they used the time to get to like the autumn time. I thought that was really well done. And then obviously the spell, which everyone will have seen in the trailer, and anyone who's watching this now will have seen it, going wrong. And then obviously we get the introduction to the former bad guys, and I thought that was really well done. I thought the whole thing of the arms being Bluetoothed by Spider-Man was superb.
Using his science brain.
And the introductions for all the people were excellent. I still can't quite figure out how, how Electro knew who I don't know how Electro knew who he was, but that's for another day.
Yeah.
But I thought their introductions was really, really well done, and I was amazed actually how they were so much of the film, like the whole film. It was based the whole like I had this idea in my head that the film was going to be about something. I knew they were going to be in it, but I thought it was going to be more about the multiverse, and they were going to come in for the last half an hour or something or whatever. Or what I just didn't realize the whole film was going to be built off the premise of Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and it really, really was. It was like It was the whole film. It was a proper Into the Spider-Verse film.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I think a lot of reports we'd seen early on were suggesting that, like, it was just going to be this, like, and it maybe at the time, like, this was the idea and the concept of it just grew. But, like, the whole idea was, like, you know, they were only going to be cameos in it here and there and bits and pieces. And then, again, you'd have the, you know, the other Spider-Man featuring it, just a small bit to help him out here and there. And it was just him trying to figure out, trying to save the, you know, the multiverse or to stop it going haywire. But it wasn't that at all. I mean, it was truly a love letter to the prior Spider-Man films.
Yeah. And also, like, little things Finn's mentioned there in the comics, like things like the Sandman. There's no new footage of the Sandman. It's all old footage and special effects. And I think even the voice work might be there might be a little bit of voice work. And the same with the Lizard as well. I think the Lizard, Rhys Ifans, I think he recorded a little bit of audio, but everything else is old footage. So they've gone back and used all old footage. Like it's so clever, obviously. Obviously, the way they've done Doc Ock and the way they've done Goblin and changed them slightly, and then obviously Electro got like a whole new sort of side to him, which was again a bit weird because I'm not wholly sure he knew Peter Parker was and knew that he was Spider-Man, and then also he gets like a whole new look, which is a bit weird, but you know, you can put things like that to a side.
I was going to say, like, it was almost like a retcon of like, all right, we know we made a bit of a mistake making him all like blue and see through.
Maybe he wasn't even that their Electro. I don't know.
I mean, that's one way to look at it, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way you can look at it now. But the way, like, honest to God, this is the first film I've ever gone to see in the UK which had cheering in it. Like, honestly, you know, Brits are like, there's none of that. It's, you know, but this was the first real film, and it all started with the Matt Murdock cameo. Like, I was just like, whoa! I was like, oh my God, there's people. What's going on? Is someone collapsed at the front? Like,
I wasn't expecting it that quick, and it just comes up out of nowhere. They like pan down from the table, pan up, and he's there, and you're like, I remember like tapping my wife on that, like, it's my man.
And it was a proper nonsense cameo as well, wasn't it? It was just like basically going, yes, I'm in this world now. And it happened, and obviously it came out here the same day that Kingpin got revealed. And it was basically just like, basically saying, yeah, I live here now, I'm in this world. And I loved it. And then you obviously seen him catch the brick, and it was like, yeah, I live here. I'm here. And he was literally in the film for a minute and a half or something, or whatever it was. And he's just like, yeah, I'm here now. I'm in this world.
He's Charlie Cox is so good. I mean, for me, like, there's so much great about this film, but that cameo, the brief moments he's there, really elevated it for me, because that's a big deal. That's a Sony film with Marvel property, with different Marvel characters, but
with the Netflix
character. Yeah, they've revived a cancelled Netflix show.
It's the multiverse. Do what you want.
Epic. Just so cool.
No, that's fan service though, and that's basically like saying, well, we get you. We get that. We get that you are completely in love with all these characters. That guy was brilliant. We just don't need to go over what happened in the past. We can just carry on, and whatever happened over there, sounds it what happened or didn't happen. Yeah. Whatever, you know. We'll just get on with it, you know, and that's the end of it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was fantastic. And it's just great to have them.
And it was
both.
Also just a good nod of him, like, catching a brick. Yeah. And it's like, it's not just Matt Murdock you're getting as a lawyer. You're getting Daredevil, like, he's still got his abilities.
It'd be dead interesting what happens now with that character, whether we get any more of him, like, suppose we get him in She-Hulk, which is understandable because that's like court-based drama, and it'll be interesting to see whether we get him like in Echo, if like maybe towards the end.
I'd be shocked if we didn't get him in Echo.
Yeah,
I've heard rumors that he's going to start to pop up a lot.
Yeah, and I almost get the feeling that towards the end, like one of the final scenes will just be him in the, like, we'll have seen a lot of him in other things in like as Matt Murdock, but like one of the last scenes in Echo, you'll see him in a version of his suit, which will be really interesting. So that was brilliant. And then obviously when we got the Andrew Garfield moment, that was just like, and we knew, like, we all knew that it was going to happen, but when it happened, and then you get
I didn't expect it. Like,
I didn't expect it at that moment.
Then,
yeah, that's the thing.
That's not how I expected it to happen. So it literally did catch me off guard.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting
I was
that
like
at all.
holding my breath, like
I just like wasn't expecting it. Again, it felt really early in the film. I don't know, it just felt really early, and you were thinking, "Oh my god, these guys are going to be in this like nearly entire film," and that's what was amazing about it. Amazing. That's what was so good, and and then them meeting each other and how they all bonded, and then suddenly they're like, "Well, it's like a brother relationship." But then to get like, and this is what the most amazing thing about it was. Amazing. Was that like there was proper redemption for Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, like real redemption. Tobey Maguire's there as like the older brother, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been here, I've done this, and I'm all right because I've got MJ and stuff, and it's all fine. Forget about what happened in number 3." And then you've got obviously Tom Holland experiencing it in real time. And then you've got this like middle one who's like, when he was talking, he was like, "Yeah, I lost someone, and now stop pulling me punches." And it was like, "Oh my god, you've got you're like the dark Spider-Man. Like you're out there still, like in your early 30s or whatever, or whatever, like or late 20s, like proper still going out there kicking shit out of people." I thought that's weird, and it was proper, And then he gets the redemption with MJ and stuff, and it was just like, it was so earned. And then it was the fact that like they discovered each other, and like there's more than we are together. We found each other, and I just for that character, it just for me it's the redemption, because I don't know what other people think, but I still think Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone are the best pairing. They're the best relationship for me in all three different Spider-Mans. Him and Emma Stone's relationship to me was just that, like, the second film's not very good. It's too mixed up, and the Goblin's terrible. But their relationship like made that film, and it was crushing, Gwen Stacy and stuff. It was crushing. So for him to get that redemption and build off that as well, and then like when they're talking about like fighting aliens and going into space, and he's just like, I fought like a giant Russian dude in a rhino skull. It just like, it was taking the piss, but at the same time going, yeah, but you were amazing, and that's what he says. He said, "You are amazing." And I just thought, you were, mate. And people can talk about that film being crap, but you were actually a really good Spider-Man, and I love that.
Do you know what? And it's a shame, because I don't think people really give those movies the credit they deserve. Like, because Maguire will always have the credit of kicking off the true superhero age of movies, like that. Because I don't think a lot of people forget or haven't seen it, or just stick it in its own little box. But that movie at the time, like, people weren't willing to invest in superhero movies. They were a financial risk. They're like, no, these are for kids. These aren't going to sell. They're not big, not popular. That movie made a ton of money and it crushed all the other competitors. I mean, everyone talks about Batman Begins. It well outscored Batman Begins.
Batman Begins, when it came out, was properly not, it was only 5 years after Batman Forever or whatever it was. People just
it came out around like
people had no idea what that was. People were like, "Oh, is that a new Batman thing?" People weren't interested. But don't get me wrong, that was like the Jason Bourne of things, wasn't it? Like the way the Bourne went on to inspire James Bond and everything. But Batman Begins inspired everything after it.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, Spider-Man, you look back now, the original, it just, the special effects are terrible. They're so outdated, but that's what we had. That's what we had, and with that, and with the X-Men, and then Fantastic Four, less or so, but we were starting to get them, and obviously that's what allowed people to start getting an idea that there was money to be made and toys could be made and all that rest.
I mean,
of it.
it's really what inspired Marvel with Iron Man. Seeing the success of that Maguire Spider-Man, they were like, "There's a movie to be made here. There's untapped potential."
Kevin Feige worked on the X-Men, didn't he? So he understood how to do it and how to put it together. But no, and listen, you know, they all get their moments in the sun. Tobey Maguire gets it obviously with he gets stabbed and all that, and he basically stops Tom Holland from doing something terrible that he can't sort of take back because he knows from Uncle Ben and all the rest of it. I just thought it was superb, and obviously you got the spell at the end, and now it's all been reset. But what's great is, you know, before we talk about that, the resetting is what's good is now, or what's really, really interesting going forward is those films are now canon. They're now MCU canon. And this is such a really clever thing. And I don't know whether this is what Marvel pitched Sony. You've now got like films, those Spider-Man films now are all canon. So therefore, there's lots of money to be made for Sony and lots of money to be made for Marvel. It keeps that connectivity. Now, with the multiverse, you could have a situation, or you probably will have a situation where the door will keep on opening. We've got Doctor Strange coming, Doctor Strange 2, which again could open the door. It will open the door, we know that. We've got Loki, you got Ant-Man, you got Kang knocking around for the entire Phase 4. And I think in Phase 4 we're going to get this thing where you are going to start getting these cameos of you know, former people. You were telling me before that Ben Affleck had been approached about Daredevil, and Eric Banner had been approached about doing the Hulk, you know, about the Hulk. And what just those two people being in a film instantly canonizes those films and says, no, they're in the multiverse. They're in the MCU, but they're in the multiverse version of the MCU. And suddenly what you're getting is you're getting Disney and Marvel are basically going, especially for the Fox films, which they own anyway. They're like, well, we're taking that property. And you imagine they'll put there's talk that Patrick Stewart could be involved in playing Professor X, could be in it. And then the minute see, it's like the Daredevil stuff. It's once you have one, you have all. Once you put one in, then they're all in. Yeah. So if you have Patrick Stewart, then suddenly you're going, well, he's in. That means all the X-Men are in. And then so then you go, no, I know different degrees to what the different Spider-Man were, but you've got then you've got that connectivity. And then as you move forward with Phase 5, and I think we're going to get a Secret Wars kind of thing, which is a war within the multiverse, which is going to come from Kang, obviously. And then by the end of it, I think we'll lose the multiverse dynamic because I don't think it can go on forever. It's too confusing. There has to be a narrative behind it, which I think we'll see with Kang, Ant-Man 3, Loki 2, Multiverse of Madness. And I think it'll settle down, and what you'll get is, at the end of it, you'll get all the people who are in the MCU, who are staying in the MCU, X-Men characters, Fantastic Four, whoever. You'll get all the people who do not live amongst them anymore. So that will probably be Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, but they'll still be canon, but they'll not come into our films anymore, and it'll.
Well, they might not come into the.
But they'll get their own
MCU films.
But they'll get their own films. And hopefully that's where Andrew Garfield goes and gets another film and there's talk of maybe having a Spider-Gwen played by Emma Stone, and it's not his Gwen, but it'll be redemption for him when he meets her or something. They've opened the door, and Sony is sitting there going, this is amazing, because all our films now are MCU, so therefore de facto we are part of it. It's so clever. And if it's Kevin Feige,
instead of having the Sony MCU, it's like, no, this is MCU. It's just in a different universe. It's all still connected. And like you said, you can have Andrew Garfield. You can have Andrew Garfield be a part of Venom or Morbius or whoever. Because I mean, we saw it with the closing of the spell and all the teasing of the different characters.
Well, we obviously
we're not.
Go on. No, I was just gonna say. Go on.
We're obviously not done with the whole Spider-Verse aspect because there is Madden Web coming into it, which I think is one of the characters that was kind of teased, and the possibilities for that is.
Well,
eventually they're going to close it up. But
we've got two big things coming out. Well, at the end of it, obviously, we skipped over Venom 2, primarily because it's crap, right? But that's my opinion.
It's a hot mess.
I didn't think it was very good. But at the end, obviously, you got the credit after credits, which tease up the after credits for with Venom again. Venom comes over, and obviously in Venom 2, you were like, "What the hell is this? What's happened?" And obviously because of what happens in Spider-Man, you understand what's happened. And then obviously he leaves a little bit of Venom behind. So we all thought he was going to stay and his Venom was going to come into our world because we all thought it was going to make a big open door. No, it's not. But he leaves a bit of Venom behind. So now we've got Venom in the MCU now. So you've got that, which is one big thing. But the what's going to be really interesting, and I think this could be like key to everything, is where does Morbius come into this? Where does he? Because we know in the trailer, Vulture's in the trailer, and then there's a poster on the wall, which
of PS4 Spider-Man.
but maybe though, because of what happens with the new suit at the end, you could maybe say, well, maybe is that. Do you know what I mean? Like, where does Mobius fit in? It's been delayed now because they want to reap the benefits of Spider-Man, but then people are going, "Oh, there's going to be reshoots and they're going to put Andrew Garfield in it." Like, where does that like that is so weird because I think into the build-up of Spider-Man, we thought, Spider-Man will open the door for Morbius to be in it and Venom to be in it, and we're all going to... But they shut the door at the end, so it's so confusing. I'm really confused by where that fits into it. Because he actually says in the trailer as well... He says in the trailer when someone goes, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm Venom." Now, I've got a feeling that won't be in the film. I've got a feeling that was just a thing for the trailer.
You think that's just like an advertising?
It wouldn't surprise me if all three wouldn't just... I wouldn't surprise me if the Vulture bit wasn't in the film. But it's just going to be dead interesting.
I mean, it's not the first time they've tricked us.
No, but
and you know what? I'm still fine with that. I am still fine with misleading trailers. Yeah. Because all you need to do is get me excited to go see a movie and to have me watch it and to talk about it online. Like that's all you need to do. If it completely changes, but it's still the same tone, awesome. Still on board. But
Finn says in the comments, Scarlet Witch will do the opposite to the House of M and she'll say, "Let there be mutants." I like that, but I don't know why she would say it. Why would she just decide that, like, does she know what a mutant is? I don't know.
If she's going into the multiverse with Doctor Strange, she must at some point see mutants, or maybe at a point where mutants are the dominant species.
Maybe her kids.
That's what happens in the House.
Maybe wherever her kids are, that's perceived as like a mutant place, and that's why the only way she can get them back into the real world, and it's got to be like all or nothing. So if she wants her kids, she has to let everybody in. Maybe that's what'll happen. I don't know. I don't really want to speculate. But what I would say is that I think this whole phase will be about multiverse. Because we've said this before. Loki hasn't automatically opened the door. Like, that's not the same. They're not pointing at this and going, "Loki did this." They're not saying
he took away the security cameras.
No, yeah, but what I would say is that all it's done is said, like, there's a multiverse, and we've had Loki breaking it, and then we've had Doctor Strange breaking it. So it's there, and we've just had two different people break it, basically. So I think, and it's a lot, and obviously Loki breaking it has allowed Kang in, and Kang will go into Ant-Man and then grow and grow and grow, and that, I think he'll be the main bad guy, and it will be, I think that's what it'll be. It'll be like Secret Wars, and then they'll have to defeat Kang to not reset, but to reshape, and then that'll be it. And then I think once we get to the end of 4, I think then we'll leave it. It'll be there, but all the gates will be shut, because otherwise, for me, there's not enough jeopardy anymore if you can keep on replacing people. This happened in like the Arrowverse on TV. they had shows on different networks and everything, and they were all over the place. And they did I think it was Infinite Chaos or one of them, and they were like, right, this
Crisis on
yeah,
Infinite
that was
Earths.
it. Yeah, Crisis.
Yeah.
And by the time it finished, they all lived on the same Earth, basically, and that was it. And I think that's what this is, and I think once we get it all sorted, we'll get the MCU that Marvel want to go forward with, which will mean mutants, Fantastic Four, the likes of Venom, the people they want. Obviously, Spider-Man, it looks like we'll be able to bridge that gap. You mentioned Madam Web. That's a proper, if you're into Spider-Man, you'll understand that. But she's like a character in the Spider-Verse who connects all the different worlds. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it for now. But I think, don't confuse people. We'll get there, yeah, we'll get there in the end. And hopefully off the back of this, we'll get Andrew Garfield will get Spider-Man 3. Tobey Maguire, I think, is done. Probably because everyone hates him in the real world. He's done.
I mean, they obviously teased Miles Morales in there as well, which is interesting now because they've teased it in Andrew Garfield's sense because it was specifically between Electro and Andrew Garfield. But then you also had Miles Morales teased in the MCU in Homecoming with his uncle. Because there's a deleted scene where he calls him.
Yeah. And he's like, I've got a nephew in this area, so he could come into it. The only thing I would say, the only leftover thing before we move on about is when the spell was cast, I still don't know whether it affected the other two Spider-Man. That's the only thing. And that would be really hard ass if Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man went back and he was like, they were like, who are you? Like, I understand the Venom thing. That's been explained. You know, Venom have a hive mind. That was explained in the first after credits. Hive mind. So the other Venom remembers Peter Parker, and that's why he was dragged into it. So that's been explained. But what hasn't been explained is if the other two Peter Parkers have been forgotten. But I suppose that's just one of those things. But no, I was listening. It was a great, brilliant installment. I know not everybody's been like convinced by the Spider-Man films. I think they like Tom Holland. I just don't think they've been convinced by the two films. I think a lot of people felt they were a bit light.
It's tough as well because the Tom Holland Spider-Man, he had something that the others didn't, but it's not always necessarily an advantage there. His movies, it's almost like he's not that he's not strong enough to carry them, but like they've almost like tried to overdo it. They've had, obviously Iron Man and Homecoming. You've had Mysterio, Nick Fury, Happy, and Far From Home, and now you've got this one as well. Like he's never really truly been the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
When you think about all the tech he's had from nearly day one, I think that's been properly overlooked. Is that he's had all that tech, he's had all these advantages. He's never lived in New York like the Spider-Man we've been used to. He's had no real struggle. He's not worked. He's not had, he's not been the photographer. He's not had to balance his life out, and this is and now he is going into his college years, and he's got to like balance it all out, and because he doesn't have the baggage of a best friend or a girlfriend, it allows them to start playing. Of course, he wants that back, but that's not going to happen straight away. So he's got to have a life like that. That might allow a Gwen Stacy in. That can allow other characters to come into his life. That allows Ned to maybe feel like he's missing something in his life and start going down the wrong road.
Tinkering.
So interesting. And obviously he's got the new suit because he's not got the tech anymore. He's not got the tech.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the charger for the suit, so he's not got the tech. So he's had to make his own tech. It's really interesting.
And the world of possibilities. And the thing that I really liked, and it's such a small little nod and a small connection, but like how he swings over the Christmas tree at the end in Times Square with Hawkeye. And for me,
well, it's the Rockefeller, isn't it?
So good.
The Rockefeller.
Yeah, exactly. The big Chris. And for me, that was just the connection there was like, we're making Spider-Man street level. Because you already had that same nod in Hawkeye, where Hawkeye street, and I just felt like that pulled together, and I was like, all right, I'm really excited about what they could do, like moving here on out, like where they're gonna take this character.
Yeah, it was a good
the possibility.
Yeah, it was a really good reset and a lot of emotional beats in it and stuff. So no, it was really well done.
the happy moment at the end was.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was a hard watch.
Yeah, I was really not. Yeah, obviously, the retcon of the Uncle Ben and all that kind of stuff was it was just really, really good. It was just a really, really good film. I had everything about it, but let's move on finally to talk about Boba Fett, which is currently on. So again, if you've not watched Boba Fett, or I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm not really going to go into details on Boba Fett because it's only three episodes in, and again, I know there's people out there who are not quite sure about this show. I'm not going to go into details because you know what? There aren't a lot of details about this show, even after 3 episodes. What have you found? What have you made of it? Because I think it's interesting that it's just some of the comments I've seen about people not liking it. But how have you found it?
I think it's gotten stronger as it's gone on. It's definitely found its footing, and as a viewer, I feel like I've adapted more to the storytelling perspective of it. But I think the opening episode, like, it had some very good individual elements, like the backstory. Like, obviously, it's the Patton Oswalt explanation of how he survives after Return of the Jedi, and you get that whole origin. And I'm enjoying that backstory, because it's defining on his character. It's important to tell because it brings it up to speed with where he is now and informs his decision making. I
feel exactly the same in that when I first started watching it, I was thinking this is gonna move the story forward from what happened in Mandalorian. But what's really interesting is the time in the 3 episodes spent in the present is really, really short. Now there is a narrative, and I think the end of the 3rd episode was really interesting because there's it's sort of hinted at where it's going but it's not the main story. It's not the
the present. The present is a lot. It's really out of alignment versus what you're getting for his past.
It's called the Book of Boba Fett. It's a story, and I think that's where people may have gone, oh, this is gonna be like the Mandalorian fighting and new adventures every week, but it's not. And I really liked the stuff in the past, and once I got my head around that, I really enjoyed the fact that we are finding out about how. I love the fact that there was no mad way of. He just fought his way out of the tank. He used the O2 of the stormtrooper that was in there to keep him alive, and he fought his way out using what he had on him. Because it was, at the end of the day, it was the intestines of a beast. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you can get out of it, you'll be all right. He got out of it, and then obviously he's in the desert, but he lands in the first, when he's with the Raiders, the Tusken Raiders, he's a prisoner, but he lands with, obviously he gets their respect, and he learns that their ways, and he respects their ways, and they respect his ways, what it's showing is that this old Boba Fett that we didn't know really anything about, we're not looking at that Boba Fett. We're looking at a new Boba. He was basically reborn.
Yes.
He was reborn, and that's it's a new character, and you're finding out where that character came from, and that's what's really good about it. And I don't think everyone will like that because of the Mandalorian, and you had Grogu and all this, and it was all bitsy cutesy and different stuff every week. Some people didn't like the Mandalorian first season. If you remember rightly, a lot of people didn't like going to new places and the adventure of the week kind of stories and going to the village with like the widow and all that. People didn't like that. What they liked was the second season when it started to get a direction and it started to have a place it was going to, and obviously the dark saber and all that kind of thing. The first season, a lot of people didn't like it, and I think this is a little bit the same. What it's doing is building Boba Fett and showing you the man he is, and the fact that he says, I'm not going to rule by fear, I'm going to rule by respect. I know. Obviously, in the present, he's finding that a little bit hard to come by, but I just like the fact that you're telling the new story. You're not telling an old story. That was the old Boba Fett. This is the new Boba Fett. He's not a bounty hunter anymore. This is a new Boba Fett, and I really like that story, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. And I thought it was good that in this week's episode, you got a little bit of a crossover with Mandalorian. They went to Mos Eisley, and you seen the helmets of the stormtroopers being placed on the spikes, and that's obviously what the Mandalorian saw when he first got there. You saw the woman who had the place where the Mandalorian landed his ship, the woman with all the little robots who wanted to keep Grogu. You saw her in the background. It's not like mad connectivity. And what we're going to do is we're going to get to a point where we do see Boba Fett finding out what happened to his suit and how he's going to meet the Mandalorian. And obviously that's going to take us to the present, and then we're going to jump to the story. But I'm really enjoying it. It is what it is. It's a Star Wars story. It's not going out. It's using Star Wars characters with a Star Wars narrative, and it's a very small story about a really big character, and I'm really enjoying it.
See, and this is, funnily enough, like it parallels, because I watched today's episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and then right after I watched Eternals, but I had very similar feelings about both of those, in the fact that not everything needs to feel identical. Like, it's a different approach to the storytelling, and as long like both of them are, held in a vacuum as far as the stories of the way they're existing, and smaller in scope, but it's good because it gives you a chance to approach it in a different perspective, and it doesn't feel all the same.
No,
where it becomes kind of monotonous. And I think the Book of Boba Fett especially has done a lot to advance Star Wars lore. Like, no one's ever spent time with Tusken Raiders and gotten to know them as like people, like how they communicate, their the family environment. Like, the biggest look we ever got at Tusken Raiders was the fact that they can communicate using a version of sign language in The Mandalorian. I mean, again, that was never ever explored. They were always a plot device of just like, oh, Tatooine's dangerous, watch out for Tusken Raiders, and that was it.
It actually makes Anakin a bigger knobhead. It actually makes, for what he did to them, it makes him a bigger knobhead. No, because what it doesn't do is it's not rewriting history either. There have been a couple of little flashes of Cameo, and obviously we got bits of that in the Bad Batch. But it's not rewriting anything that happened before. You're not going, well, actually, before this, he was a dead sound fella. He wasn't. He was a bounty hunter, and he was a knobhead. He had loads of anger because of what happened to his dad, and he was a bit of a knobhead. And of course, because he saw his dad beheaded by the Jedis, he doesn't like the Jedis. He's seen what happened to his dad.
Yeah.
But when he went into the Sarlacc pit, he got a new appreciation. Well, he fought his way out of it, first of all. Then he got dumped in the desert without any protection. And then these people took him, and he learned to respect them, and they learned to respect him. And he got a new outlook on life because it's like he'd just been reborn, saved. And there aren't any Jedi anymore. I don't know if he knows that, but they're certainly not in his world. And that to me is the story. The story isn't this big, massive. We know what he's gonna. We know that. We know in the present he's left behind. He has left behind. He left behind the Mandalorian, and they, that all happened. But to him, this is almost like his retirement. Yeah. Like, he's going to somewhere which has been ruled by a Hut for a while, and they're bad knobheads. And he's like, I'm not going to be it. He says, like, there's a power vacuum, someone has to take it, and I'm taking it, and guess what? I'm not a knobhead. Like, someone actually came to him in this episode and it's like, people are running amok, they're stealing my water. And he goes to see them, and he comes to a decision that doesn't suit everybody, but it sorts the situation out. Yeah. And that's what I like. It's like, I think what people are going to focus on is more how he got to this point rather than what he's doing in the present. And listen, it's a Star Wars show. It's got good people behind it. It will come to a point where you'll I think, and mightn't, but I think it'll come to a point where you're understanding why why all this is led together. I think what people want is, I think, a little bit too much, and I see this sometimes, is they want everything to be revealed in the first episode. They want everything to be laid out for them on a plate, and they want, like, I want to see a cameo of that fella, and I want to see a cameo of that fella. It's like, no, you've got to earn all that stuff sometimes in shows.
And I was going to say, and I think we definitely fell into some of that category as well, because I know we were expecting, and a lot of reviewers, the same thing happened to them. Disney didn't send out like any screeners whatsoever. So it did get people a bit of a buzz, thinking, oh, okay, maybe they're pulling a Mandalorian, like, with that first episode with the Grogu, like, who's going to be in it? And, it was kind of like, oh, so there was a kind of like, oh, okay, it was his backstory. Like, it was really, really good. But that whole move of, sending that stuff out to surprise me. But the show itself is very self-contained. It's good, but not everything needs to be this epic space saga.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they have delivered some fantastic things that has gotten some Star Wars fans talking. I mean, Black's Chrysanthemum. Yeah. I mean, that's a comic book character that they brought to life. Like, an amazing character. Kieran Gillen, who's the author of the comic, who created the character, when he posted something today when he was first creating the character, he didn't have a name for him, and he basically called him New Backer, because that's the only name. He was like, I don't know, he's a walking new. For now, I'm calling him New Backer. But I mean, he's been an amazing character. Like, today's episode, you got to see, way more of him, and they're just exploring these little things that no one's really ever addressed in Star Wars.
And again, there was another character in it today, a new character, and I kept on screaming out a name, and I don't think it is that person, or maybe not that creature, but it'd be like, if it was that creature, I don't think it will be, but if it was that creature, you're like, hardcore fans would be like, oh my god, it's Moochie. But no, and I do think David Gibson says, do you think Han Solo might make a cameo? But this is the person I actually said to you, didn't I, before the first episode? I think Han Solo will be in it. And actually, I still think he might be in it, but imagine he is in it. Imagine he's in the last episode of it, and he has a bit of a standoff with them, but whatever. Wouldn't that'll have been worth it, won't it?
Yeah.
And I'm not like I'm enjoying it as well.
Especially because you've seen Boba Fett like change, so it's almost like it would be like some sort of like mutual respect reconciliation. Like, we are not the same people we once were.
Exactly, and obviously like
the world's different.
Yeah, and of course it makes sense if it was Han, because of the carbonite and everything, and he's no good to me if he's dead. Which he should have really said. He's not good to me if he's dead, mate. Terrible. So yeah, there has been rumours on the grapevine of maybe Harrison Ford has done something with Star Wars.
He did something with the aging technology.
Yeah, there has been rumours, maybe more than rumours, that he's done something for Star Wars with the de-aging technology, and it would make sense that it was. Hopefully, it's better than Luke. Luke's de-aging, and has to be better than Leia's in Rogue One. Which I still don't understand why they haven't gone back and sorted that out. Like, why? Like, you took Gene's guy out of Mandalorian. Like, go back.
Should have left Gene's guy in. You know, Gene's in space.
Rogue One is brilliant, and I really like Rogue One, but go back and fix that now, please. You've got the technology. Go and fix it, because, like, it's not terrible. But imagine if it was perfect. Imagine if it was like Marvel perfect, and you've got that person in now who can do it.
Yeah. Well, and do you know what would be interesting as well if they did that and they changed it on Disney Plus and for all the additions backwards? It adds a weird collector's value for anyone who actually physically owns the old Rogue One. So all of a sudden the prices on those DVDs are, I've got the unchanged, the unedited version.
There's no reason why they couldn't, because if they just did the Disney Plus version, then that's fine, isn't it? And anything they did going forward on DVD or anything, or putting it out on like other platforms. But there's like, go and do it. Like You've got the technology to do it, so go and do it. And George Lucas was the guy who put all kinds of crap in different versions of Star Wars, so just go and do it. But I hope he is, and it would, and yeah, someone actually, Basic Tricks just said it would explain how the Falcon is back on Tatooine in The Force Awakens. That is a really good point. Well,
that wasn't Tatooine where.
Oh no.
I'm forgetting the planet name, but she's from a different desert planet.
Oh, it's all the same.
Jakar?
Jakar, yeah. Jakar.
Jakar.
Jim Carrey there. No, it was a different planet. What are you talking about, Basic Trig? Why are you ruining the podcast with your bad facts?
Jesus.
God. Maybe that's where they go to like get fuel to go to Jakar. And he just bumps into Boba Fett and he's like, what are you doing here? Like,
yeah.
I've come here to get fuel and you're knocking around. Why are you in charge of here? And he's like, well, I
was going to say it could have just spread through the galaxy, like Rebel pilots, like through.
What if like it's all over Wookiee WhatsApp? And Chewbacca like is just looking on the Wookiee group on
Wikipedia.
Yeah. And he just looks and it says like, that dude's been in. It says, yeah, Boba Fett's in charge now. And he's like, Chewbacca's like, we better go and sort this fella out. When they get there, they find out he's sound, and he's
better sort this fella out, lad. Take care of him.
Get it sorted. Yeah, that's it.
I love thinking that Chewbacca's got a Scouse accent. If you can hear him,
yeah, just a different. He's just got like a. Well, it's just as Scouse as Trevor Slattery's. And that, folks, brings us full circle. There you go. I'm really enjoying it, and I've got, I know other people aren't, and other people might think it should have been something else, but I am really enjoying it. It's not the Mandalorian.
I want to get an instant match reaction from Astro on Boba Fett.
See, that's what we need to start doing. I really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it. It's a different kind of thing, but I'm enjoying it. So, yeah, it's slightly different, but just learn to like things for what they are and not what you want them to be. I think that's the message I'm putting out. There you go. We said we were going to do about an hour. We've done nearly 2 hours. That's normally the way this show always goes.
Shock.
If you want to chat about all this stuff, come and catch us on our Discord, where all this stuff is getting talked about 24/7. PlayStation, Star Wars, Marvel, all the latest streaming shows that people are watching, giving people each other recommendations for what they should be watching, and all the rest. So check that out. If you want to find out how to join our Discord, come over to our Twitter. It is @Nerds Social Club, and you'll get the link on there, and come and join us. Yeah, if you don't have time to watch this video and you want it in a podcast form, that is out. Search Nerds Social Club podcast on all the things, and hopefully we'll be back next week. Hopefully. I think we said that about 4 months ago. But
new year, new pod.
New year, new us. There you go. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.